Listen carefully. I'm designating this week Apple Pie Week. Apple Pie Week. A couple of days ago, serious, making a dessert at home. There's only the three of us who live at our house now, myself, Gillian, and Caleb. And so I'm making this really nice, I'll tell you what it was actually, what was it? Pineapple upside down cake. Yeah. No, not enough for everybody. But, we needed to eat about half of it. And I'm thinking, I got these pieces left over. I just felt in my mind, box one up for somebody. So there's a lovely old lady who lives across the street. So Caleb, go and take that over to the lady across the street. Then there was another 2 portions left. Take that to somebody else. I just think we struggle, don't we? Trying to be great witnesses for people. And the reality is it's pretty easy. Just do something good for somebody. You'll stand out from the crowd. So I'm designating this week Apple Pie Week. You say, does it have to be apple pie? No, it doesn't. You can do whatever you want, make a cake, do a Sunday roast today, and think about somebody who may benefit and be a blessing to them. Wouldn't it be amazing if everybody in our church baked something extra this week, today, tomorrow, this week, and just walked randomly over to a neighbor and say, hey, I was just thinking about you. I bought an apple pie. They're going to look at you weird, understandably, but maybe that's a start of an amazing friendship. We've had some amazing life group barbecues in the last few weeks, yesterday, and still going on. It's been amazing just to connect with people. So there we go. It's pretty random, but let's get out there and do it. Be a random act of kindness to somebody this week. Why don't we do that? Come on, let's give it up for Jesus, shall we? Please take your seats. Well, the series is called Hate to Wait. Hate to Wait. And so many people last week when we did part 1 spoke about how it helped their lives. So we have 2 more weeks of Hate to Wait. So this is Hate to Wait part 2. You may feel this morning that arriving at church, you look around and don't feel that you have much in common with anybody. In fact, you may look around at these people and go, I have nothing in common at all with these people. I mean, this is your first time maybe, and you think, this is not really where I'm at. And so we go through life feeling maybe I have nothing in common. But I want to assure you that we all have something in common. Of course, you expect me to say Jesus, and that's not what I'm going to say, even though that is, of course, the utmost truth. But what we do have in common, friends, this morning is the sense of that we're all waiting. We're all waiting for something. In the days gone by, in the early days of our marriage, we were often waiting for the postman. Gone are those days now, because I don't know about you, but it doesn't seem that the postman comes that often anymore, which is nice. But in those days, we just were desperate to get through the week financially, and we were praying for a miracle. We'd be waiting for the postman. Maybe there's a check coming today. Maybe somebody's going to slip us a tenner. It's amazing what a miracle a £10 note in those days was and can be even today. Remember this, your means. One man's means is another man's miracle. You may go, it's not much, but to another person, it may be their Sunday savor. You may get them a meal today. We're all waiting for something. Some of you ladies, maybe you've been married for a time and you haven't conceived yet, and you're waiting for a baby. And then there are others of you who are waiting for the means to conceive, i.e. a husband. And you're waiting for him. You've spotted maybe one across the crowd this morning and think over the coffee shop, this is it. This is the day the Lord has made. I'm going to go for that one today. All right, not yet, love. No. Okay. And for those of you who have been married, some of you, of course, are waiting for a divorce. You tried that, and you're thinking, no, and I've been there, done that, never again. Don't want to ever see. Don't want ever anybody in my bed anymore. So seriously, some of you are, no joke, waiting for that divorce to come through. Sad that may be. Some of you are waiting for a job. Some of you are doing jobs that you hate. I say this, You're going to live and die doing the job that bores you to death. You hate every day. You've got to struggle to get out of bed. Switch it up. Change it. Do something different. You say, I'm a bit scared. Well, what are you going to do? Live scared? Do it scared. Start to apply. Maybe you've put in 50 CVs and you're waiting for even one reply. Appreciate that's painful waiting. Some of you are waiting for test results, maybe exam results. And you're thinking, I'm really not looking forward to that. And then there are those of you who are waiting for results about an illness that you're going through and you're waiting for the doctor's report. Some of you more on a light-hearted moment, but nevertheless it's important for you that you're waiting for that next car. The other one's broken and you're thinking, Lord, please send us another car. And then there are those of you, which is the essence of life, you're waiting for your dream to come to pass. Or you're even waiting for a dream that you feel to land on you. Lord, what's the dream for my life? What do you really want to do? And you're waiting. Jesus, I'm waiting. We have things in common about that. We're all waiting. And then there are some people here in the service today, and you're waiting for this season to be over. You've hated this season. You don't like it one bit. Just want to get out of this. Bring on my new season, Jesus. So we're all waiting. That's the first thing we have in common is waiting. The second thing we have in common is this. We're all frustrated at waiting. We hate to be waiting. Come on, God, don't you know I'm waiting? Hurry up, God. Come on, I'm waiting. And so the third thing that we have in common is this. We all want God to hurry up. We're trying to rush God. God, don't you understand? I've been waiting for at least 3 weeks. I'm expecting that to happen for me. So we all find it frustrating to wait. Doesn't matter where you are. Waiting in a line for your shopping, waiting at an airport, waiting in a bus stop, waiting. We spend our lives waiting. Number one. Number two, we spend our lives frustrated at waiting. Number three, we spend our lives trying to rush God because we are frustrated at number one, which is waiting. And then there's the thing, number four, is that which we probably don't realize right now, and that is we don't understand the power of what I'm about to say. But the fourth thing that we need to have in common this morning is this, that one word from God can change your life forever. And so I want you, number four, to appreciate that this message, I believe, is a defining message for your life. I do believe that this message is a word from God that you need to receive with all of your heart. And you may not realize it. Maybe you're thinking, I'm just trying to keep the sweat away from my brow right now. I'm just wading myself through the waft of BO coming over the congregation. But the truth is this, everybody, I want you to right now just lean into this word because I found this to be true. One service, one Bible verse, one word from God can change the trajectory of my life. I'm now expecting, as this service, to go into orbit because the trajectory, the way that I'm aiming my life is going to change. I believe that one word from God can change your life forever. So I'm believing that right now. So everybody's still out there, bank holiday. Fantastic. Hebrews chapter 10. Let's go there, shall we? Right away. Hebrews chapter 10, verse 35. It goes straight into the business here. So don't throw away your confidence. Isn't it amazing how we can get so confident in church? La, whoa, whoa. Started with a la, la instead of a whoa, whoa. But never mind. We can get so confident. Oh, we feel 10 feet tall. And then Monday morning comes, and then we feel like, throwing it all away again. So the scripture said, don't throw away your confidence. It will be richly rewarded. And then it says this, you need to persevere. That's what you have to do. So that when you have done the will of God, you, ready, will receive what he has promised. For it says, in just a little while, we're going to examine that in a few seconds' time, about how long is a little while to God, which may be a bit longer than your little while. He who is coming will come and will not delay. And it says, quoting another verse, but my righteous one will live by faith. That's you. And I take no pleasure, says God, in the one who shrinks back. But We do not belong, Champions family, come on, to those who shrink back. But we belong to those who have faith and are saved. Now, I feel as if I'm just going to really go for this morning and just help somebody's life here. Holy Spirit, I ask you to help me to engage with people's hearts, not their heads. That something of this, the Bible, will rub off and interject and change and influence people in the name of Jesus. Now listen, if there's one thing I feel I'm qualified to do, I'm qualified to talk about waiting. There's lots of things I am not qualified to talk about, so I wouldn't even talk about them. Because it will be absolute mumbo jumbo. You wouldn't understand it because I don't understand it. First rule of communication is don't try and explain something you don't know anything about. True? The other thing I found in life is that in my younger days, I thought I needed to be good at everything, and then I realized I'm not. I'm probably good at 2 to 3, maybe 4 things. I can probably say confidently, and I'm not trying to big myself up, but every human being, I believe, is brilliant at maybe 1 or 2 things. And then you're probably very good at 3 or 4 things, pretty amazing at 5 things, but after that, forget it. You can't be good and brilliant and exceptional even at everything. I found that really helped me to know, Mark, just be brilliant at a couple of things and then leave the rest to everybody else who's brilliant at other things. But one of the things I think that I am qualified to talk and teach about is waiting. You wouldn't go to a financial advisor who was broke, would you? You wouldn't go to well, some of you would. You would, yeah, we do. We do. Yeah. Well, that's why you come to church, get some wisdom. You wouldn't go to a financial advisor who's going to advise you about your money, who has no savings, who's in debt, has been bankrupt 3 times. You wouldn't go there. So why would you listen to somebody from the platform of Champions Church talking about something that has no experience of it? In fact, the opposite is true. Well, I can safely say, I think I was born to wait. And I have lots of experience to talk to you about waiting. In fact, I am a trained waiter. I think when God saw me, and that sounds like a joke, but it's not, because when I qualified as a chef, I also qualified as a wine waiter. That's really come in handy. And qualified also as a waiter. Let me tell you how I looked. Pristine white jacket, white shirt, black dicky bow, black trousers, beautifully pressed, shiny black shoes. And then the stance that we were trained was you always hold your, like Nelson, like this, with a white waiting towel over your arm. I am actually a qualified waiter. I think heaven looked down on me as a qualified waiter and thought, he looks pretty good at waiting. So let's keep him waiting all his life. And that's what I seem to have done. For the whole of my life, I seem to have qualified to be one of God's waiters. I don't mean waiter, I mean I just keep waiting for everything. But you know, out of that waiting, I've got comfortable with waiting. And I do believe today that I can help lots of people in the waiting process of your life. Because when the moment you get kind of, God, okay, I'm on your time frame, have a guess what? God says, thank you very much. Now it's time to move. Waiting. So I want to encourage you today in the waiting game. Don't quit. Don't give up. Don't walk away. We need every single person to stay on track here. Keep trusting. Keep believing. God is faithful. He will not let you down. Never. It was David who said, I believe, I have never seen a righteous man forsaken or his kids begging bread. I've never seen it. Neither have I. I'll tell you something else I've never heard from a person. I've never heard a generous person say, I am in need. Think about it. I have never heard a generous man or woman utter the words, I am in need. Do you think there's something about that? I've heard a lot of stingy people say, I'm in need. Think about it. So let's talk about this business of waiting. You see, there's waiting and there's waiting. Let me tell you what the waiting of the Bible is not. The waiting of the Bible is not waiting for a bus. It is not waiting at an airport. You know, when you're in that long line waiting to get to the desk, if you've ever flown before, and it kind of moves a few seconds, a few feet every 5 to 10 minutes. And you know, you got your cases with you, and you just kick the case. You don't even pick it up. You just kick it along in the queue until you get to the person at the desk. It's not that waiting. It's not the waiting at a bus. It's not the waiting at the cash till at the supermarket. Because that kind of waiting is like the waiting maybe at the fun fair or at an amusement park. It's the waiting that says, flipping hurry up. I've been standing here forever. Hurry up. And you're twiddling your thumbs. You're not doing anything else apart from waiting. That's not the waiting. You see, that waiting is kind of just selfish waiting. It's what's in it for me. When are you going to call my name? The other thing annoying about queues, have you noticed this? That people who queue for hours, they get to the front of the queue and then they hear the person at the check-in desk go, next, please. Everybody's going, go on, tell him. Next, please. They've been waiting an hour and a half, and now they're at the front of the queue. What are they doing? Looking around. Having a conversation with somebody else about something else. I don't know about you, but my wife's not that person. You know, when she's at the front of the queue, she knows she's at the front of the queue. And the moment, next, we're away. Number 4, we're there. We know the name of the person, the address. We're right there. I don't know what you're like, but how annoying. You feel like, do you stand in a queue and you feel like you've got to organize it? Gillian will say when we're in a queue for shopping, sometimes she says, I wish I was on that cash till I'd make this happen. I'd love to get her in Aldi. Shall we get her in Aldi? But yeah, come on. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Yeah, it'd be brilliant, wouldn't it? Yeah. Anyway, how did we get onto that one? But it's not that waiting. Listen to what the waiting is. The waiting of the Bible is this. It's a high-class 5-star restaurant, Michelin star, whereby the waiter that I described before is standing there with his white towel. And if it's silver service like in the old days that we were trained to do, you had to wear white gloves so you look the part. This is the waiting that I'm about to describe to you because this is attentive waiting. This is not, what's in it for me? This is waiting for people to come through. How may I serve you? What would you like? Hello, would you be, this is, hello, please sit there. Hello, is there anything else? Can I help you? What are you having to drink? That's the waiting of the Bible, which is not, I'm in line, hurry up. It's, hello, how can I serve you? So the waiting of the Bible is this, serve until your time comes. This is the most asked thing. Oh, we almost did it. A bank holiday clap. Almost. Come on, the sun's shining. I think this is a better message than you're giving it credit for anyway. Everything significant in my life has been worth waiting for. Problem is, I didn't realize it at the time. You know the rainbow and the pot of gold? The rainbow is the wait in the Christian life. And you have to wait till you get to the end. And then you get God's pot of gold. Don't get off the rainbow, folks. Hold on. You know, even Jesus, his own words said, he said this, never will I leave you. Never will I forsake you. How much of that don't you believe? He'll never let you go. He'll never quit on you. Don't quit on him. So one of the things we get asked in church is, well, I want to serve, but I don't know where to serve, so I'm not going to serve. No, that's completely wrong. Just serve. Where? Anywhere. What if I don't like it? Well, quit. Serve somewhere else. So in my younger days, I never heard any teaching like this. So I just got stuck in wherever. I just would clean the old chapel. And then I moved to the kids ministry at 14. I trained and played the pipe organ when I was 14. So I'd do that every single Sunday. And then I moved on to the kids ministry. Raised up the kids. Family service. Tried the old people's. That didn't quite work out. But we move on from there. But that's the way it's got to be. Serve until your time comes. Don't just go, I keep standing. I'm waiting. When Pastor Mark calls me out and prophesies over me, that's when I'll serve. Well, you ain't going to serve then, because I'm not calling you out. I'm not going to prophesy over you. The only prophecy you're going to get is this: serve today. Get out there. Well, I don't know where to serve. We'll put you somewhere. We'll put you on the car park, put you in the coffee, put you wherever you need to be. We need people everywhere. So my message today, really, under the title of Hate to Wait, is very simple. And it's this: get your hands off what God has got his hands on. Get your hands off what God has got his hands on. How many of you like to meddle? Oh, in our kitchen, I'm a meddler. My wife knows. Yesterday, we had a barbecue for people in our life group. I told Gillian she was using the wrong spoon. Can you believe I would tell my wife, a pastor in the church, that she was using the wrong spoon in something she was doing? She gives me those eyes that say, stop meddling. This is my dish. You stick to what you're doing. Go to the barbecue, you man. Do what men do. Flip burgers. Now listen carefully. We meddle with the plan of God. God, you need my help, don't you? And we meddle with it as if God doesn't know what he's doing. Do you realize what I said last week is true? Do you know how long God has been God for? All right, joke. But the truth is this: he knows exactly what he's doing. And the problem is in life, it's not happening quick enough, so we want God to hurry up. This verse, friends, has saved my life time in, time out over the last years. 1 Thessalonians 5:24. It says, the one who calls you is faithful, and he will do it. The one who calls you is faithful, and Mark will do it. He will do it. The one who calls you is faithful, and he will do it. So here's what we need to understand. Are you ready? Let's motor with this, shall we? Isaiah 55. For my thoughts are not your thoughts. Uh-oh. Neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. Now there's a problem. Do you know, I thought my thoughts, anyway, as the heavens are higher than the earth, so my ways are higher than Google Earth, than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. And then he explains what he's saying. Here's the explanation. And it says this: as the rain and the snow come down from heaven, and do not return to it without watering the earth and making it bud and flourish, so that it yields seed for the sower and bread for the eater, so my word that goes from my mouth to you will not return to me empty, but will accomplish what I desire and achieve the purpose for which I sent it. Whatever God speaks over your life, he will not allow it to bounce back empty. He waters the word, he sows the seed of the word, and he sows it into your life, and you go, well, it's just not growing. The parsley's not growing. The turnips are not growing. The apple tree's not growing. The stuff in my life is not growing fast. So, Lord, I'm going to have to help you. As if God is an ignoramus. He isn't. God's timing is impeccable. It's perfect. He is never early, and he's never late. He has an amazing knack of having perfect timing. The problem is, here we go, he doesn't have a watch. You see, we base everything on this. What's the time? We base our services on time. If I go over time, I get in the neck for going over time. Never gone under time, so I don't know what happens then. Everything is based on time. Our family will come round to our house today for lunch. That's wonderful. You know what? They want to know, what time? What time are we having it? Better not be late. It's got to be on time. Everything we do in life is timed. But the problem is God's timing is different. His ways are higher. His thoughts are different. He's at a completely different level. Give you a quick illustration from my own life. I was about 19, 20 years of age. I wasn't expecting to hear from God. Really. I was a young Christian. I was faithfully praying, giving. I was doing my best. I was telling everybody about Jesus, getting into a lot of trouble in those days. And all of a sudden, 19 years of age, 20 years of age, I heard the audible voice of God resound in my heart and said, Mark, one day you'll be the pastor of that church. Many of you know the story, say, heard it all before. But listen, here's my point. I said back to the Lord, okay, I know that you can do this all by yourself, so I'm not going to help. Best thing ever, Mark. However, 7 years passed. God speaks. Still, Mark is working in catering. It was 1 December. 7 years later, I'm walking into this huge refrigeration unit. We had 2. And because it was December, they were filled with fresh turkey. I had the flu, but I still turned up for work. Flew inside fridge, low moment, turkeys all around. I'm saying nothing. You can think whatever you think is going inside my head right now. I'm addressing the eagles here today. And I said to God, in a moment on my own, low moment, is this it? 7 years earlier, he told me what I would do. Is this it? And I heard the whisper come back. It's all good training. Now, you make your mind up about the turkeys in there, what the training was for. But I pastored many turkeys. But thank God for the eagles today. It's been worth it. All right, yeah. Flap your wings, some of you. I asked the Lord that 3 months later. Is this it? And he said the same thing. It's all good training. And it was. This is what I want us to appreciate today, friends. 2 Peter 3, verse 8. And it says this. Don't forget this one thing, dear friends. With the Lord, a day is like 1,000 years. How long you been in church for today? Well, about 1,000 years. And 1,000 years are like a day. Now, whichever way you look at that, it's got a bit of a problem attached to it. But when I look back at my wait from the word over my life to the actual culmination of that word to being the pastor of this church, it was 8 years. Now, I've worked it out. Got a calculator, admittedly, and I looked at 1,000 years as a day. Do you know how long I was waiting for? 10 minutes. That's what it was. I waited 10 minutes. I'm saying to God, God, how long is it going to take? He went, just a moment. You see, God said, in just a little while. Well, in just a little while, even a day is 1,000 years. So 1,000 years is but a day. And if you calculate it out, most of our waiting is minutes and seconds to God. You see, on God's time clock, everything is short. But on our time clock, everything is long. One of the most amazing graphic pictures that I want to paint as we close today is of probably the most renowned old couple in the Bible, Abraham and Sarah. Now, a little bit of background. Old Testament, book of Genesis, from there. Abraham is 75 years of age, just built his conservatory, got his bus pass, everything for his retirement. And God speaks to him, hey, Abraham, I am going to make you the father of nations. Now, his name at the time wasn't Abraham. There was no in it. It was Abraham. And Abraham means exalted father. Exalted father. That's a joke. Exalted father, 75. His wife is just a shade younger than him, but nevertheless past the days of childbearing, and he's called Abraham, exalted father. Can you imagine him down at the market? Hey, exalted father, how's all the kids doing? Don't have any. You've lived for 75 years under the word Abraham, and you don't have any kids? So at 75, God says to him, Abraham, listen, I am going to make you the father of nations. Wow! That's a dream come true for any man concerning kids and fun and wife and things and it's bank holiday. Please have a sense of humor. I'm drowning here. And Abraham goes to Sarah, hey, we've got to start all over again. She goes, oh, flipping heck, not that again. I thought we were past that. Some of you are getting it. You better stay with me because this goes on for quite a time. So 75, they start getting back. Don't you get that disgusted look at me as if you don't know what I'm talking about? You know exactly this. You are so super spiritual, some of you. You're baptized in vinegar. 75. Okay, I'm going to make you the father of nations. Wow, amazing. Hey, Sarah, we've got to start all over again. We're going to have kids. Brilliant. Fantastic. All right, come on then. Let's go. Oh, Lord. You know, he's the only man in history who could literally say when his wife said, not tonight, love. I've got a headache. I'm tired. I mean, at 75, you would be, wouldn't you? Do you know what he could say? This is the will of God. Wouldn't it be great as a man? I'm actually going to try that. I'm going to try that. I'm going to try that. This is the will of God. And he was. So for 10 years, they have a lot of fun. Well, I don't know. But 10 years pass. Nothing. As expected. Nothing. So now, not 75, 85. 10 years later. And Sarah's going, forget this, Abe. I can't keep up with you. It's the will of God. So she comes up with an ingenious plan to help God out. God, it's not working. Abraham is thrilled with the plan. I mean, it doesn't get any better. If he thought that was heaven, now this is just another echelon of heaven. Whatever one of those is. Just like that. And she said, Abraham, I've got a brilliant idea. You know our maidservant that we would call an au pair? I didn't say au pair. I said au pair. Yes, he said. You mean the 6'1", long-legged, blonde one with blue eyes, 27. Yes, her. I've got a plan. I think you should sleep with her. Now let me pray about. No, I don't need to pray about that. That will be fantastic. Sarah, that's the best thing you've ever said. Love, I'll see you in a few years' time. Where is she? Come on, love. This is the will of God. Whoa! You say, this is not in the Bible. How can you be a pastor? Because it's in the Bible. Genesis 16. Now Sarah, Abraham's wife, had borne him no children. But she had an Egyptian slave, 6'1", blue eyes, long blonde hair, and named Hagar. And she said to Abraham, the Lord has kept me from having children. Go sleep with my slave. Perhaps I can build a family through her. Abraham agreed. Well, who wouldn't? I mean, Sarah's earth suit needed ironing every night. Abraham agreed and said to Sarah, so after Abraham had been living in Canaan 10 years, Sarah took the Egyptian slave Hagar and said to her husband, to be his wife. And so that passage goes on. However, Genesis 16 verse 12, they produced a son. Come on, God, we just need to give you a helping hand here. Sarah says, God, it's not working for me. Let me help you out. And so after 9 months, gave birth to Ishmael. This is the description, friends. of who Ishmael was. He will be a wild donkey of a man. His hand will be against everybody, and everybody's hand will be against him. He will live in hostility towards his brothers. And then the next verse said this. Abraham was 86 years old when Hagar bore him Ishmael. 11 years, the promise didn't come to pass, but they helped him and got a wild donkey. Let me ask you the question as we draw to a close. Do you want to interfere? Do you want to meddle with the plan of God so that you give birth to nothing more than a wild donkey of a promise? Or do you want to fulfill the promise of God, which is God said, I don't need your helping hand, because that's not the son. That is the wrong one. And so, long story short, at 86, Abraham and Sarah get back together. And a long 14 years goes by and still no promise. But watch what happens. At 99, whoa! 99 after a lot of practice with no results. Do you know that feels like my life? Lots of practice, but little results. Does that feel like you? Lord, I'm doing this. I just need to help you. No, you don't. Stop it. Let me do it for you. 99, God visits Abraham, father of nations, exalted father, and said, Abraham, I'm going to give you a name change. 99. You're now going to be called Abraham. Whenever you see the her in the Hebrew language, it means breath. God breathed on his name and said, her, Abraham, Abraham. I'm going to breathe the Holy Spirit on you. Gives him a brand new name, which means father of many. Now, just play along with me. Time's gone again. We're down at the market. Everybody's making Abraham a laughingstock. What's his name? Abraham, exalted father. How many kids does he have? None. One day at 99, trundling down to the market, everybody's hearing, hey, he's changed his name. Praise the Lord for that. I mean, how inappropriate is he to be called exalted father and you have no kids? What's he going to be called now? George, Bill, or something normal? No, he's changed his name to Abraham. What's that mean? Father of many. Ridiculous. From exalted father to father of many, still no kids. But friends, it doesn't matter what anybody said about it. When God decides to breathe on your life, you are not going to be barren any longer. I said when God breathes on your life, you are not going to be barren any longer. Because when he breathes, and he said, hey, come on. And on 100 years old, 25 years, everybody come on, let's stand. 25 years after the promise to the fulfillment, they give birth to the promised Isaac. Now, friends, do you want to be stuck for the rest of your life with a wild donkey? Or do you want to be stuck with the rest of your life in the very destiny that God has? God's about to breathe on your life here today, friends. And it may take 25 years, but remember, every overnight successful promise is 25 years in the making. Thank God for the times that you are waiting and you're hanging on to the legs of Jesus and falling at his feet. Friends, can I encourage you? Don't quit. Don't let go of the promise. Don't let go right now. Now listen, we don't get our names changed today, but we get our nature changed today. And you may think you're ready, as I said last week, but right now, I want you to receive the very breath of God on your life. And when people say, oh, what are you going to do with your life? Well, you wouldn't believe it if I told you. Well, try me. And you know, you have to explain why your name is Abraham and you have no kids. And your name means I'm going to have lots of kids. And because you're holding on to the very promise of God. I wonder if there's anybody right now who needs that breath on the promise on your name, on your nature. You think you're ready. In just a moment, we're going to just pick up with this song. We're not going to sing it for singing's sake, because if I looked at the clock, we'd say we don't have time for the song. But I want this song to be something that you sing all day today, all day tomorrow, because it's a word over your life. So I close today, friends, by submitting to you that when God calls us, He calls us what we will be. He doesn't call us what we were or what we are. And He doesn't call you according to where you've been. When God called Abraham, He's calling him according to what is coming his way. When God calls you to be a leader, a pastor, whatever you're going to be, a doctor, He calls you according not to where you are, because He would have called you loser, no hoper, bankrupt, in debt, deceived, can't conceive, barren. He never calls you that. In fact, He said, let the barren woman sing. Sing. For greater is your kids than anybody else. You know what? He works it out in Isaiah when He said that. For your husband is your maker. And God, excuse the terminology today, but God is the inseminator of dreams. He takes Abraham and Sarai and turns them into Abraham and Sarah. Even Sarah got the H added to the end of her name, because He said, I'm going to breathe on your barren womb. I'm going to breathe on your life. And thank God He breathed on my life, because if not, I'd just be wearing a big white hat today, still catering to people's needs. But thank God He called me so that I can look after people in this life and eternity, friends. And one final thing, and I'm aware time, come on, it's bank holiday. You've got nowhere to rush, have you? Here's one final thing. If you were to go to Matthew chapter 1, you find the genealogy of Jesus, the family tree. And it starts with Abraham begat. Verse 1, Matthew 1. Abraham begat Isaac. 14 generations, you get David. 14 generations from there, you get the next family tree. And the last 14 generations end up with the last verse of Matthew chapter 1. And the very last name on that list is Jesus Christ. I say to you, friends, today, champions, that how you start holding on to God through the process of all that time and generations, which is about 20 minutes or an hour. However, guess what? If you want Jesus at the end, you have to have Jesus at the start. If you want Jesus at the start, you're going to get Jesus at the end. Because when He says Abraham begat Isaac, do you know what? Isaac became the family line of David, and David was the royal line of King David. And that's why we sing, once in royal David's city stood a lonely cattle shed, where the mother laid her in a manger for a, I don't know the carols, who cares? But we know this, that through the royal line came Jesus. Do you know how it started? Through the promised Isaac. And if you want to end with Jesus, and if you want to give birth to Jesus and the dream that Jesus has for your life, I'm going to ask you, as we sing this song, I'm going to ask you to come down to the front. Come on, it's bank holiday weekend. I'm not going to ask you to leave. Nobody leave. Come on. I'm going to ask you, if you're sitting on a promise, if you're waiting to hatch the promise, come, let's high the lights up, please. Let's go. God made you a promise, and it ain't going to stop now. So I want you, before you leave this service, with the eye of faith, to see that your miracle is on its way. I want you to see today, it doesn't matter how long I have to wait for. We may have to wait for year after year after year. And there's a sense in which we're all, as a church family, waiting. We're waiting for individual things. We could say we're waiting for phase 3 as a body. But I believe this is more about you right now and about God. So we're going to lift this song one more time, and then Caleb's going to come and dismiss us. But listen carefully. I want to pray for you. I am believing right now that this is make or break for some of you. You've been meddling, interfering. You've been going, oh, God, I just really need to help you out here. No, don't help God out. Just obey, serve, sign up to serve today. But I don't know where to serve. It's okay, just serve. Be the waiter. Be the waiter on God. Be a waiter. Be a server. If you feel comfortable right now, I want everybody, lots of you, raise your hands already. Let's do it again. I'm going to ask you to just stretch out your hands because I'm going to pray a wave of God's blessing to fall upon this church. In this service, I pray, Holy Spirit, come on, band, let's get ready. And I pray, Holy Spirit, that you do great things. Please help me, Lord God, to be the waiter on God. Help me to be that person who is all eyes and ears to, in my generation, to serve the purpose of God. I pray today, Father, right now before we utter these words, I know a breakthrough is coming. So I pray and prophesy over every man, woman, boy, girl, young person, young adult. Right now a breakthrough is coming in the name of Jesus. Come on, let's give a great shout to Jesus right now.